TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
Okay, so that's how I got my autism diagnosis. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Aspie world. My name is Dan and I have autism, ADHD, OCD and dyslexia. I'm making weekly videos all about this stuff, so if you want to learn more, remember to hit the subscribe button. What's going on, dudes? Welcome back to another video. It feels like it's been forever. It's been nuts. I just launched a new product, which is just absolutely crazy. So anyway, I'm so pumped to do this video. I get a lot of people asking me, Dan, how did you get your autism diagnosis? How does the process work? Where did you go? What did you do? So I thought I'd take some time just to talk about some of the common traits of autism and kind of like how you can characterize it, how people spotted it in me and how I see it myself, and then how I got my autism diagnosis. Because I really believe that understanding how you got an autism diagnosis can help you achieve your autism diagnosis if you're looking for that. So let's get right into it. So first of all, guys, autism being a neurological developmental condition means that there are characteristics that are neurologically ingrained in a person who's on the autism spectrum. Now, if you're interested, I do have a little freebie, like life hacks book for autism that you can download for free. The link is in the description down below, or you can just go to the link in my bio and where it says free book, just click that and you get it for free. Some of the characteristics that are completely obvious within autism is things like, obsessive behavior. An autistic person may be really obsessed with a specific topic of interest. Mine is all things kind of chemistry related because I did a degree in chemistry, marketing, business. I love all that kind of stuff. But then you could have somebody who's really into photography. They could be excellent at photography, that they want to spend all the time doing photography. And that's their thing, right? That's where their talent lies, or that's where obsession lies. That you could have another autistic individual who is obsessed with Marilyn Monroe, that kind of thing. And what I mean by being obsessed is that they constantly spend all their time learning about it. They constantly spend all their time researching it. They would fly out to kind of Marilyn Monroe's house where she used to live, like try and stalk her friends online or whatever, and then just know everything about that subject. And this is another trait, wanting to talk consistently, obsessively for hours about that one thing. You may think that autistic individuals will have issues with social communication, which is correct. This is another trait. But also, autistic individuals would, if they get going about the topic of interest that they're interested in, okay, so people who know younger people on the spectrum could be Minecraft, and they'll just talk to you for hours about Minecraft or Roblox, right? That's because they have learned all of those things and they want to dictate that stuff they've learned verbatim. And that's a really interesting characteristic where you can have a very shy, quiet person who's on the autism spectrum. But if you ask them a question about their specific topic of interest, they'll be very, very vocal about it. And I think that's very fascinating. So with me, one of my traits is that I talk a lot. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. But I talk excessively. I talk a lot about a lot of things. And I memorize a certain fact, and I love talking about those facts, right? And that's really common within autistic individuals. Now, another trait is having difficulty with eye contact. A lot of autistic individuals won't necessarily be able to make specifically good, long, sustaining eye contact when they're talking. Because when an autistic person is making communication effort, to look into someone's eyes is kind of like looking into their soul and like grabbing them by the scruff of the neck. It's very awkward, very uncomfortable, and they can't really do it. So this is something that you can see quite apparently. Another thing is difficulties with a change in the routine. Autistic individuals love routine. They love knowing the outcome of a specific set of events. Like, we're going to go to the zoo today. We have to drive for an hour in a car. We've packed sandwiches. When we get there, we're going to have our sandwiches and everything's going to be cool. But if something happens, like you get a flat tire in the car and then you have to eat sandwiches in the car and then you're delayed going to the zoo, so you have to get like a hotel next to the zoo and then go to the zoo the day after. A big no-no, that the disruption in the routine, the surprise that just came out of nowhere, this like unpredicted event that was completely out of the plan of action, can really throw you. So that's another reason why autistic individuals can display this whole like issues with routine. But on the same line, autistic individuals thrive from having a specific routine. So they could get up in the morning, wear the same clothes every single day, not the same actual clothes, but the same type of clothes. Like I wear black clothes all the time, like black t-shirts, black long sleeve t-shirts, black pants, black socks, and black underpants. Like that's just me all over. But autistic individuals will love to get dressed the same thing every single day. They will get up at the same time every day. They will eat the same thing for breakfast every day. They'll maybe watch the same shows, watch something on repeat all the time. these things are very interesting, and they're very characterized in autistic individuals. Emotional deregulation is huge. Not being able to express themselves emotionally, especially communicating with other individuals when you're talking about emotions. And this is because autistic individuals have a disconnect between the understanding in the brain of energy that converts into motion, which gives you energy and motion, which is emotion. And so this is something that's quite hard, not hard to grasp, but hard for their brain to kind of like do intimately on that level. Like, okay, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to say what, I'm going to say my emotions right now at that moment in time. I think that's quite interesting, and it's very, very apparent. Autistic individuals will typically have issues making friends, because making friends is something that's quite hard. You need to know social conventions, you need to know unwritten social cues, which is a big issue for people on the autism spectrum. How far do I stand to a person? How close do I stand to a person? How do I say hello? How do I inject myself into a conversation? How do I say goodbye? And how do I leave a conversation? All these things are quite mystical for autistic individuals, and they may not fully be able to understand that. So that in a nutshell, the last thing I'll say is taking things literally. Autistic individuals will take things at face value. If you say something is something, they'll believe that's what it is. And this is part of the reason of how I got my diagnosis. So back in 2013, this is just before the DSM changed the nomenclature from Asperger's syndrome to the autism spectrum disorder. My girlfriend, his mother was a mental health nurse, and my girlfriend was actually studying autism in university because she was doing a degree in childhood studies. So she'd seen kind of characteristics in me that was very common in the studies of these children that she was kind of studying, and I was like, oh my goodness. And I remember she tweeted out something once saying like, why is it that the people on the Big Bang Theory remind me of my boyfriend? Because Sheldon Cooper on the Big Bang Theory displays typically autistic traits, right? Or what you would have called Asperger's syndrome, which is now like low support needs autism. Because there's a big whole thing with nomenclature. A lot of people don't like to use functioning labels, other people don't like to use, I don't know, there's a bunch of things. We're not going to get into that in this video, but if you are interested, I did a whole video talking about why Asperger's isn't used and why some people still use it. I'll link it down below. So that being said, my mother did question and asked if I was on the autism spectrum. Now, at this time, I knew nothing about autism, and I met a friend who found that some things that I did was really interesting. Like, she said to me, she was eating a banana and having a coffee, and she put the banana peel inside the coffee pot. She said, can you go to the kitchen, put this in the bin? So I just threw the cup and the banana in the bin. But she was like, dude, don't throw the cup away, only the banana peel. But I'd taken what she'd said very literal. And so that kind of started getting conversation going of like, hey, do you always do things literally? Yes. How do you think like this? Blah, blah, blah. So it all came to a grinding halt when I was in my place of work, which was, I was working for a company, a multimedia company, and I was sitting behind a desk, right? And my desk was the same for like 3 years. Like, I've been on that desk 3 years. It was a very small company, maybe like 20 of us in one room, very small. And I was there for the whole time, right? So yeah, we were a very small company. I had the same desk that I had for years. And then the other thing that happened then was I went on vacation with my partner for like a week, and I came back to the office, and they'd moved not only the office, they'd moved my desk, and everything was complete chaos. And I just had this like huge like meltdown in the office, and I'd never had anything this big before, and it was just like, in work. And I was like, oh, they took me out, and I was like, holy smokes, dude, like, you okay? Then they took me to, I worked from home for a little bit, and they took me to see a counselor. And when I got to the counselor was also like, yeah, maybe you should get tested for autism spectrum disorder. So I did that. I went through those processes. I got referred from my doctor to a autism specialist. Went to see an autism specialist twice, did two types of like interview-based, kind of some little bit of practical stuff. And then they kind of assessed that and said, yeah, you're on the autism spectrum. And I was like, holy smokes. And at the time, I knew nothing about autism, which was really interesting. And I went online then to find some information. And because I'm bad at like reading, I wanted to kind of learn through like video. I went onto YouTube, typed in autism or Asperger's syndrome, which is what I was diagnosed with. And there was just nothing there. So I started this channel because I was like, well, I can add those things to this. I can add this to the mix, and maybe I can help some people. So that was my story. What's your story? I want to know down below. If you're not already diagnosed, then let me know if you're looking to get a diagnosis. But if you are, let me know your story down below. Speak to you next time, guys. Peace.